Okay, here we go again. Welcome back. Give me a minute. You're going to want to hear this. So, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when Iran was burning these statues over there? Not just this one, but also this one. Well, I want to tell you something about these statues, and I want to tell you how it's going to tie into everything at the end of this video. So first, let's talk about these statues and compare and contrast. Both of them are statues dedicated to Baal, or some people call him Baal, whichever way you want to go with that one. But I want to show you some similarities between this Baal the Bull and the other Baal the Bull. Watch this. The first thing we're going to do is look at this one. The first places we're going to look is right here on this side of the chair, on that side of the chair, and up there in between his eyes on his forehead. What symbol is this? Is that not the symbol of Israel today, which I believe to be the star of Ephraim, which is a star of Molech that talks about in the Old Testament? Well, tell me this, okay? Why would they have this symbol on something that they worship, okay? You need to know why this statue that they burned and destroyed is symbolically tied to that star that you see not just only on this Baal the Bull or Baal the Bull, but watch this. Same thing. See, a lot of people only focus in on this one right here and this flag that's flowing in that place. And then when they see that symbol, they're like, oh, Israel, Israel, Israel. And then they forget that it's tied right into the papacy. And this guy freaks me out right here, the way he looks all the time. Every picture is like always. But anyway, him wearing that symbol. And then right on the back of your own dollar bill, where it says New World Order in Latin, with the all-seeing eye of Ra on top of the pyramid, right on top of an American dollar bill, okay? You can find that star also up there, okay? And if you read this squared section up here, you can screenshot it. It says, on the other side is engraved a bull's head enclosed in a six-pointed star and surrounded by letters composing the name Rempha, the planetary genius of Saturn, according to the alphabet of the Magi. Right up there at the top, that symbol's tied directly into Baal the Bull, okay, and Saturn worship. See, I've made many posts and many videos all about that symbol and what it means and why it is where it is all over the place in the world today. So I'm not going to dive down this whole rabbit hole, but I want to keep going forward. Hear me out. So let me put this together for you so far. Iran burned these statues, two of them and an obelisk included in the one, burned them with Donald Trump plastered on one, and also BB attached to one, and then those stars on each side of it as well, and then chanting death to America over and over again. Both of those were dedicated to Israel and the United States, if you're not putting that together. Why? Well, like I said, the synagogue of Satan is tied into everything, and so is Baal worship. Baal worship is found everywhere, all over the whole world, including in Washington, D.C., in which we have a 555 technical foot tower, 555.5 actually, foot obelisk tower in Washington, D.C., that's 666 inches wide at the base. Look it up yourself, okay? Sitting in Washington, D.C., and is dedicated to George Washington, which was, see, George Washington wasn't just some president, but he was the president. He's the whole thing behind 1776, Lucifer on the light bearers on the shores of Babylon the Great with their broken chain around the bottom of the feet, okay? George Washington is behind all of that. See, in 1776, you also have the Bavarian Lodge, and all of that Illuminati tying stuff started at the same time, which is why every Freemasonic headquarters has free and accepted plastered right there on the walls of their buildings. Okay, they're the ones that were set free. Baal worship and all of that was actually what was initiated in 1776, if you want to be specific. And it's all tied directly into Baal worship, light worship, okay? But let's move away from that and move forward to how we retaliated from that, okay? I want to remind you that everything happened in tens. You have the Sabbath, the middle of the winter on the Sabbath, on the 28th, 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, in 2026, 6 plus 2 plus 2 is 10. At 10 o'clock in the morning, in their time, you have them getting bombed by the United States and Israel. Okay, and I just did a whole video yesterday on this whole 10-10 thing, but I want to show you something else. Okay, well, if you look up 10-10 in your Hebrew concordance, here's what you'll pull up. Beth, Baal, Meon. Okay, and what does that mean? It means house of Baal, habitation of Baal. But guess what? Beth, Baal, Meon is a literal place in Israel. Read it for yourself. Maybe that's why we have our own Baal worshipers over here in the United States, over there licking and kissing on this wall. But moving forward, look at this. So you remember I made that video yesterday about this passage right here about Armageddon being in the Bible, right? And I'm telling you that the next thing that it says is going to happen is this big old stuff happening in the sky where there's this loud voice, there's thunderings, there's lightnings, there's an earthquake that's so big that has not happened since the beginning of the world, which is a pretty big deal if you think about it. The world ends the way it begins, as I was telling you guys as well. But this earthquake causes this split apart of the nations and all of that stuff, right? Well, we talked about that splitting apart of the nations, but also the first splitting apart of the great city of Babylon into 3 pieces before the rest of the world and their cities fall as well. Okay, so listen closely to this. You have the great city, which is what? It defines it there, Babylon the Great. The great city split into 3 parts. And then, as you have, and the cities of the nations collapsing. And then it says every island fled away and the mountains could not be found. And then it says from the sky. Now there's people still living during this point, and I'll prove it to you. Because down here, who are these people it talks about at the end? From the sky fell huge hailstones, each weighing about 100 pounds. And they fell on people. And who? And they cursed God on account of the plague of the hail, because the plague was so terrible. Meaning there's people still here, and there's still people in the midway point all through this, okay? And all of this is also happening while there's this huge battle of Armageddon also going on. And by the way, a great battle doesn't last only 1 day or 2 days or 10 days. It is what it is. Battles last a long time. Okay? But I want to show you something else. So, while you got all that going on, the closing points of all of that is hailstorms. Okay? It talks about hail that weighs 100 pounds. Well, do you know where the biggest hail in the world fell? Well, it was in the United States of America. And that thing was 8, we talked about 8 inches in diameter, and it fell on the 10th. Let's put that number back in there as well. Huge, the size of a volleyball. Okay, well, if you think back to the April 8th eclipse, okay, and how they X'd out the center of the United States, it's pretty wild that March through May of this year, 2026, they're expecting a higher density of hail hitting literal central United States like it hasn't already been through enough. But I want to show you some other things. March 3rd, while we got World War III going on, you have Trump signing a directive to accelerate 6G deployment to operate implantable technologies. What's the coincidence in that timing? But let's look at what else has been said. You have posts like this going around, and the Washington Post and all those others, saying that Trump's being told that he was anointed by Jesus to cause Armageddon, while Hexeth also said literally this is the start of Armageddon. But the Bible says they gather at Armageddon. And would you believe this? See, Armageddon is a literal place. It's a literal geographical site in northern Israel known as Tel Megiddo, okay, which means Armageddon, an ancient archaeological mound, which it says it has to be in the Bible, overlooking the Jezreel Valley. Okay, that's where this war is taking place. And then there's people that say, well, no one knows the day or the hour. No one knows the day or the hour, because they're focusing on a pre-trib rapture. If you learn that we overcome second death, first death has no sting, okay? If we go through first death, we know second death has no sting. So we endure in this life, keeping our faith, knowing that death has no victory. Our hope is being covered by the garment of righteousness during this time, so that we too will be raised back to life the way the Son was raised back to life, okay? Knowing when Armageddon, that battle is taking place, it's written in the Bible. The kings gathered there. They knew these things. It's written in the Bible. It's what's taking place. Everybody's like, well, they're faking it. No, I tried to tell you guys also, the Bible tells you that there's a beast before the 1,000-year reign, and then he puts away and martyrs all the saints, etc. And then there's the short horn, second beast that comes back with the recovered head wound, comes back to life after the 1,000-year, and he exercises all the same power as the first beast. All of it. Does all the things the first beast did, okay? And then it does specific things in a short form according to Daniel chapter 7 through 11. So you guys have to put your thinking caps on just a little bit. This is really picking up really quickly. And there's a lot of stuff that I haven't even been able to put in this video. But I'll make another one for you. Hope you got something out of this though.